This just in, ladies and gentlemen, this just in, and I promise I had to read this twice and three times. It is confirmed by CNN that the Biden administration is now turning to countries that they sought to avoid or oust to help shutting off the Russian oil money. Now, this comes on the heel after the Biden administration announced a U.S. ban on Russian oil import over the Ukraine war.
We're banning all imports of Russian oil and gas and energy. That means Russian oil will no longer be acceptable at U.S. ports, and the American people will deal another powerful blow to Putin's war machine.
It says here that the Biden administration official traveled to Venezuela over the weekend for talks of potentially allowing the country to sell its oil on the international market.
This is a move that has strong bipartisan support in Congress and, I believe, in the country. Americans have rallied to support the Ukrainian people and made it clear we will not be part of subsidizing Putin's war.
Yes, you heard it right. Let me read it again. The Biden administration, the U.S., now is sending its official into Venezuela to talk on potentially allowing the country's oil to be available, not sanctioned anymore, to be available on the international market. Now, this comes on the heel after the Biden administration announced a U.S. ban on Russian oil import over the Ukraine war. So, yes, we are talking about Venezuela and the U.S. And it's an uncomfortable conversation because Venezuela is an ally of Russia.
A Russian bomber with an impressive wingspan touches down at America's doorstep. The Tu-160 has to deploy parachutes to slow down. Russian pilots, decked out in helmets and orange jumpsuits, climb out to a hero's welcome. Two of these bombers, nicknamed Blackjacks, are in Venezuela tonight. Vladimir Putin has deployed these warplanes along with two support aircraft to conduct exercises over the Caribbean with Venezuelan forces.
In fact, you don't have to be very old to remember just a few years ago when there was some alleged assassination attempt where it was alleged that mercenaries were sent from the U.S. to overthrow the government of Venezuela.
I would say to the U.S. people the truth, and we've always done so. Venezuela wants only one thing: respect. The time of U.S. interference in the social and political life of Latin America and the Caribbean should be left behind. Venezuela is the object of desire of ruling circles in Washington for two reasons. Our riches, the riches of our country. We have the largest proven reserves of oil in the world. We have growing reserves of natural gas. We are number 8 in terms of gas reserves in the world, and these reserves are growing because on top of oil, we are also exploring some gas deposits. Now, Venezuela raised the flag of a new model of waking up the peoples on our continent, but they want to suppress this idea, this example. It's not just about Trump, because Trump is reading his notes. He doesn't even know where Venezuela is on the map. He doesn't even know where Puerto Rico is. He did not know that. He went to Puerto Rico and he came there during the tragedy and insulted them. These are our brothers. If you say to him Simón Bolívar, he thinks that's a rocker, a singer. He doesn't know who that is. He repeats what the Pentagon writes for him. My voice will never shut up, and my voice will be loud always, with or without Trump.
It's kind of a very uncomfortable situation and conversation to have. Here we have an administration, Venezuela, who is allied with Russia, is being asked to replace Russia on the international market to provide oil for the world market, the U.S. and other countries who is now looking to cut off Russia, if you get what I mean. It's kind of complicated how it would go.
We made this decision in close consultation with our allies and our partners around the world, particularly in Europe, because a united response to Putin's aggression has been my overriding focus, to keep all NATO and all of the EU and our allies totally united. We're moving forward with this ban, understanding that many of our European allies and partners may not be in a position to join us. The United States produces far more oil domestically than all the European countries combined. In fact, we're a net exporter of energy. So we can take this step when others cannot. But we're working closely with Europe and our partners to develop a long-term strategy to reduce their dependence on Russian energy as well. Our teams are actively discussing how to make this happen, and today we remain united We remain united in our purpose.
We don't know how the talks went, but we do understand what has been happening over the period of time. As we would remember just a few years ago, many citizens of Venezuela have been leaving Venezuela because of immense poverty. So the question is Maduro going to go into negotiation for the money aspect of it? We're yet to fully know. It is just an uncomfortable conversation because people are saying, listen, it's the same U.S. that Maduro don't trust. And it's the same Venezuela who is close friends and ally with Russia.
Venezuela has one of the largest collections of Russian arms in the region. Amidst this threat of intervention, you're here in Moscow. Will you be, or are you asking President Putin for military assistance and more weapons?
Ya la tenemos.
As for this Russian assistance, yes, we do have. Russia supports us. Thank goodness there is such a leader in the world, a true leader, with a fast-growing economy like Vladimir Putin. He holds high the flag of peace, dignity.
You are asking for more military assistance, in a word.
Es suficiente lo que tenemos.
We have enough. What we have is enough. But at the same time, there are new arrangements that are coming up, even if we don't ask for it. We're going to be given even more support to defend our sovereignty and our defense capabilities.
The article from CNN went on to say now that the Biden administration also traveled to Saudi Arabia as the U.S. worked to convince the kingdom to increase its production, and the looming nuclear deal could bring significant volume of Iran oil to the market. So talking about going back and licking up your vomit, eh?
The decision today is not without cost here at home. Putin's war is already hurting American families at the gas pump. Since Putin began his military buildup on Ukrainian borders, just since then, the price of the gas at the pump in America went up 75 cents. And with this action, it's going to go up further. I'm going to do everything I can to minimize Putin's price hike here at home. In coordination with our partners, we've already announced that we're releasing 60 million barrels of oil from our joint oil reserves. Half of that, 30 million, is coming from the United States. And we're taking steps to ensure the reliable supply of global energy. We're also going to keep working with every tool at our disposal to protect American families and businesses.
But no one yet on how the negotiation is going or how the negotiation went. But it would be interesting to find out what would be Russia's position on this now. If Maduro actually go into negotiation with the U.S. to replace Russia, it will be an interesting conversation, and we're going to continue to watch it. In fact, when I posted this story on the page, someone messaged me and said, listen, it's not April 1st as yet. It's not All Fool's Day as yet. Because it is so unbelievable that this negotiation would even be taking place. Very, very interesting to see what would be the outcome of this, what would be Russia's position, what would be Venezuela's position, and how the talks is actually going with the U.S. and Venezuela in replacing Russia oil into the U.S. But we go keep our eyes on this news to see how it transpire with this potentially new U.S.-Venezuela kind of deal. Very interesting stuff. We'll keep you guys abreast as to how the talk's going. Keep it locked here to Ride Along Live.
Ride Along Live, I mean, yeah, it's the real deal.